viewers, and let's take a look here at November's 2014 Earth Prediction series that I do. So if you've been following me for a little while now, you'll know that these cards I use are called Psy cards, which is spelt P-S-Y, Psy cards, and they are a form of divination cards, slightly more unusual perhaps than the normal tarot. So they have a smaller following and consequently they have less understanding, and the way that I am using them is quite unique. So I've devised the meanings for the cards over a series of years that I've been using them. And I usually pull 5 cards for the reading for the month, and these are just what I call earth energies that surround the vibrational frequencies that I pick up that surround Earth. So I can't necessarily go too specific because the cards are a general feeling or energy vibration. So if we look at this first card that we have here, which is the Moon card, we see the Moon obviously. So I think of planets and the Moon and the Sun initially. And we know that we have a lunar eclipse. Actually, I think it might be today because I am uploading this slightly before November. And often when I upload my readings early, it is for a reason. It usually is because the energies of the reading will start taking place around about when the upload happens. So that lunar eclipse there kind of makes sense to me. That ties in with that part of the card as well, and perhaps other things that we might notice with our moon, or there might be new moon discoveries or projects or satellite information or something that comes to light in that manner. And also we could be in still for some strong planet lineups. We've certainly had a lot of big planetary lineups in October. It's been a very celestial month, and perhaps November is also going to offer celestial occurrences. And then we come down to this part of the card and we see the sea. So when I get messages about the water and our oceans, I think of vibrational energy around that. So could it be storm related energy around our sea or sea movement? And because we see here this crab in the middle, I think of the star sign Cancer, and then I think of the Tropic of Cancer. So possibly we see effect around the globe on either the sea or land in the areas of the Tropic of Cancer. And this can be various types of effect, whether it's land related issues or sea related issues, or even human issues, whether it's in flaring energies of warring or tensions or big events that occur around that type of area. So the Tropic of Cancer sort of runs through the bottom of North America or Mexico, the top of Africa, through the bottom of the Middle East, and through the top of India, and through parts of China is the Tropic of Cancer. So we'll keep an eye on those areas for the month. And also animals. Do we have any more potential mass die-offs coming in the month of November? And animal related issues that could be around. So the second card that arrived is the Union card. And this card often to me gives the feeling of really strong, surging, rushing water. And it can be down hills, and it can be rock slides and mudslides, because these are rocks in here, gushing and rushing down. So this card often to me gives the feeling of really quick, surging water. And we think of that could be due to flooding issues or heavy rain issues. So storms, water-related storms. And also earth movement, something that is big enough to create rocks and things to be moved around. This cup here is quite a spiritual energy essence cup, so sometimes we think of compassion or events that affect us at the heart level. And the next card that arrived is the Libido card. And this card I have always suggested, I call it the Mass Compassion Event card. And this can be positive compassion events such as big parades or fanfare or celebrations or carnivals, things like that. Or it can be mass compassion events that really activate people's heart areas in a feeling of coming together and uniting for often sorrow or the feeling of loss. And I often say it can be mass murders or events along those lines that are very, very sad and heart-wrenching, and often in the USA and Canada type areas. And sadly yesterday there was the shooting of the guard at the Parliament buildings by one of the Islamic State jihadist people. So that's a mass compassion event. And also this card has again the surging, pouring water. So we get that feeling of really fast flowing, roaring water. And we've got animals again. So we're getting quite a lot of messages in this reading about animal events, so possibly mass die-offs. So we've certainly had a lot of cards in the reading that have indicated big water movements, whether that's our sea moving, and that can be of course earthquake related, or whether it's tropical storms formed from the sea that create massive storm surges that come up and go over land and cause this water flow. And the next card that arrived is the Fool. A really colourful card, a colourful character too. The biggest point that I look for in this card, or that I note, is this house teetering on the edge of a cliff. And I get the feeling of shaking, so houses that are quaking and shaking. And also falling off things. And so this card in particular for me gives the two messages of quakes, and they can be quite large quakes. So I think November we could see some bigger quakes coming back in again. We had 1.7 in October, I believe, but I think November we could see some bigger ones. And also this buildings falling off. I think again of those mudslides, or torrents of water that knock buildings off their foundations. And we also think of avalanches, which I may not have mentioned earlier, and I certainly hope that the Himalayas are not in for any more avalanches or issues up there, because they've certainly had their fair share lately, which has been particularly harsh on the locals and the people who have opted to go up climbing. So I hope that stays clear for them. So the Fool is definitely about quakes and shakes and earth movement and houses being shaken, foundations being shaken and rumbled and knocked. And interesting, if we look here, we see this tree and we see tree roots in the picture. And the very last card of the reading almost replicates that. It's just a tree, and in particular the tree roots seem to be so important. And because this card is particularly red in colour, I get the feeling of fire, like fiery energy. So this can be fires, as in on the land, big fires that may be out of control, or building fires, and it can also be underground fires such as volcanic energy, and that surging energy when they come up and out and explode. And this looks to me a lot like lava flow. And it can also tie in with the whole, this is the tree of life in essence, so it can tie in with the whole life cycle patterns of people and families. So it can be family related. So sometimes we can see sad issues coming into public forum where families are very pained by something that's taken place. And here's another example, is the Canadian shooting. The mother and father of the young man who committed those crimes, they're just so distraught and they don't know what caused him to do that. So this card often gives off those type of distraught family energies as well. So anyhow guys, that's the reading for November. They are quite sort of storm related, with a bit of quake movement, really, aren't they? And maybe a bit of volcanic, which has been common. We're seeing an uptick in volcanic and quakes globally. If you go back 20 years even and count the number of quakes that were around, they're increasing. The question is why? Why are all these changes taking place? There's something pretty big underneath that is causing this global change on the planet amongst all of its facets, including itself and the creatures and beings and humans that live on it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate your time. Hey, and I love you to put comments below the video. Have your 2 cents worth. Tell me what you think the cards are, because everyone's value and opinion is always appreciated and gives insight. Kia ora. Much aroha. Peace.